I see 4 main reasons when avoidant come back after a breakup. In this video, I'm going to share also my personal experience as an avoidant, a former avoidant. The number 4 is extremely sort of personal to me, so bear with me and explain everything after the jingle.
IGetMyExPack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
The first thing that needs to happen is that the breakup was respectful. When we are clingy, when as an avoidant you date someone who's clingy, needy, that reinforces the image in their mind of that's not what I want, that's not the relationship I want, that's not the person I want to be with. It reinforces the fear that avoidant people have in terms of commitment, in terms of it's too much work. We sometimes have the belief system that it's so hard to have someone depending on it. It's so much responsibility and I don't want to deal with it. I don't have the emotional bandwidth. In a way, when you're avoidant, it's not necessarily emotional bandwidth. It's just we don't have the tools. We don't know how to respond to these things. When you have someone, for example, who's upset, who's crying, who wants to confront, who wants to discuss, as an avoidant person, it's just like you have no clue how to respond and you feel hopeless. You feel I can't connect. So in a word, a breakup can be really, really difficult to deal with as an avoidant, even if they took the decision to end the relationship. If you are too clingy, if you are too needy, because you don't want to get this bad image about yourself. And if you did, because sometimes it happens, and maybe you're watching this video a bit too late, no big deal, but go no contact as soon as possible. Create the space, diffuse the tension. That's what you have to do ASAP. In any case, when you need to get back with someone avoidant, you need a phase of no contact at some stage, because what avoidant fear the most is the idea that you're invading my space. We have a deep need to be free to do things on own terms, and the breakup is just a manifestation of this, perhaps the last resort that they found to sort of really finally get their need for space met. So that's the first thing, very important for you to understand and assess. Then you have boundaries, and I think when you have an anxious attachment style, there's this deep fear of abandonment. And what happens after a breakup is that we want to contact our ex. We don't want to let go of the relationship. We want to discuss, as I mentioned before. And when you do that, you create more tension, you create more drama, and you are in a way pushing your partner, your ex, further away. There's also a point about yourself. You need to respect your boundaries. I think a lot of anxiously attached people, they're empath. They really think about others. They really try to understand their psychology. That's probably what you're doing right now, trying to understand what's going on with them. The problem is that sometimes we fail to recognize, okay, what should be my need? What do I want from the relationship? There's an element, especially after a breakup, where we lack self-respect. When people who have an anxious attachment style, they forget that, hold on, I want to be in a mutually loved relationship. I don't want to flex myself, and I don't want to be someone else. I also have needs, and I don't want to compromise on those needs. It's very important because you will gain respect from that person, regardless if they're avoidant or not, by the way. And the reason it's important to establish clear boundaries is that it creates a secure base. So let me give you a few angles, few traits. The idea that you can leave as well. The idea that, again, I'm independent. I don't necessarily need you as much as you thought. I don't depend on you. We're away from codependency at this stage. I will respect, and I expect you to respect me. So I respect your need for space. I respect your need for autonomy, but I want you to respect also my need to respect my voice. I also have you displaying the idea that you have the ability to regulate your emotion. It's very important, not getting too angry, not to sort of have display of negative behaviors towards your ex or towards your partner. You are assertive but not aggressive because you managed to regulate your emotions. Very important. Obviously, and we discussed towards the end, when it comes to engaging or recovering the relationship, You want to letting your partner have a sense of control, but very quickly you need to be assertive. You need to, you're grown-ups. We are grown-ups. We don't want to play games. You want to be finding and creating a relationship with someone where you can have a honest dialogue. The idea is just to remove the drama, remove things that could really trigger an avoidant to what we call deactivate in terms of attachment theory. That's the only thing we need to do, but it doesn't mean you need to shut down. It doesn't mean you need to be someone else or to be accepting any of their behaviors. That's dangerous, and I don't want you to end up in a toxic relationship for the wrong reason. Number 3 is the relationship fundamentally changed them. So very often I ask the question of how old is your ex, because very early on when you're 20s, the need for independence, the commitment is something very far-fetched. You don't necessarily feel the need to be in a committed relationship. So it's also the idea that this relationship changed me. It was different, and very often I hear my clients telling me, and my ex told me, they've never felt like this, they never said love you to anyone before me. That's something transformative for that person. And they're on that journey of sort of understanding that maybe there's more to it. Maybe they need to address some of their insecurities around commitment. Remember that we all have a desire and to some extent a need to be attached, or a need to be loved and be loved. And avoidant people, what they are doing, one of the coping mechanisms when they feel they're under stress, when they feel there's threats, versus their sort of safety, they will pull back. They will take distance, right? That's their coping mechanism. But with you, they never felt like this, right? Something is different, and what we need to assess is that the fear of commitment is less strong than what you had together. When they look back, they feel like, okay, that was something meaningful. That was something that I want to experience again. Perhaps they would want to experience this with someone else. Very often, if you have had something meaningful, they will come back trying to experience this because they've had other relationships in the past and that was different. And nothing compares with what you had. So, obviously, they'll think twice. It takes some time. They will assess. They will really assess where you're at and how you sort of behave, whether you have the same anxiously attached behavior, what we call protest behaviors. They will assess and see, okay, hold on. If I give a second chance to this relationship, will it be different? Will I feel safer? Will I feel understood? Will I have the clue or the tools to communicate properly to make this person happy? Because very often people who have an avoidant attachment style, you might classify them as selfish, but it's very common for people to say, I'm breaking up with you because I feel I can't make you happy. I can't meet your needs because maybe at this stage or before the breakup, your needs were unrealistic and you needed to also address some of your insecurities. And the fourth one, which is the most important, which was an eye-opener for me, is the idea that as a dismissive avoidant, you realize that there's something that needs to be done, that you're missing things in your life, that the path to having happy and successful relationship is to be more secure. Something that I discovered, something that I'm actually working on almost on a daily basis with my wife. The idea that yes, I have some avoidant traits, I have some insecurities, I have some ways to deal with conflicts that are not necessarily healthy, that are not productive, that this instinct sometimes to move away from the conflict, to dismiss things. And having this awareness on a daily basis, anytime I have a disagreement with my wife or when I have a discussion with my friends, for example, I'm trying to see, okay, what would be the secure way of dealing with this situation? And so this breakup, and I see that every day, may act as a wake-up call. This idea that, hold on, I am wasting probably years of my life with that person because of some fear, because of the idea that it's not working. While I know because you've been respectful, I know because you respected my boundaries, and I know because you're a strong person, I was wrong, and I need to reconsider things. I need to address my insecurities. And so the idea, and it's very important, and it's the next slide, is how you can break that person, facilitate this person to have this realization that I wasn't great. Maybe avoiding fights is not necessarily a great strategy. It worked when I was a child. It worked when I was a teenager. It worked in the wrong earlier when I was in my 20s, because I didn't feel the need to be in a committed relationship. But now that, for example, I want to have kids, I want to get married, I want to build a relationship with someone, I need to do something. I really need to do something. And you might be wondering what's in their head, what's going on, Alexis, in your head when something like that happens to you. It's the most common question that I have, and if you want to know what's going on in your ex's mind, don't hesitate, give me a call, because it really depends on cases. So have a look in the description. There are links to book discovery calls with me. And sometimes we create a form of obsession about that, thinking like, okay, what is he doing? Especially when you're in touch with that person. What are they trying to say? Is there something hidden in the message? Is there something between the lines that I need to read, that I need to interpret? This obsession, you should divert this obsession and be obsessed about your attachment, be obsessed about your wounds, be obsessed about your working models. It's not something that you will address and master in a week or two. It's something that takes time. And testing this with people, testing this with your ex will really help you sort of develop this secure attachment style. Studies have shown that the more secure you are, the more secure your partner will become. The more secure the base is, the safer, the more sort of open an avoidant partner would be. If you want someone to open up, to discuss intimacy, to deepen the interaction that you have with that person, it's not by attacking, it's not by being sort of active in sort of driving the conversation. It's about letting them have a sense of control, letting them feel that they're safe. You're not going to judge, you're not going to attack them, you're not going to complain, you're not going to protest. And you let them speak up and see whether they have good intentions, see whether they're willing to make some effort, because you also want to assess whether this person is ready to fight for you the same way you're fighting for them. You're fighting to feel better, you're fighting to be more secure, you're fighting to have the answers and really grow from this breakup. Now it's just a question of assessing whether they're also doing this, because you don't want to be the only one doing the work. It needs to be a 50-50. It needs to be, of course, sometimes it needs to start from you, because you can only control what you're doing. But very quickly you need to assess and you need to inspire them. And if they don't react to this, if they are not sort of in that, okay, I think I was wrong, then you have to draw your own conclusion. And if you're not sure whether you should give up, whether you should fight, again, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be more than happy to guide you. Any other questions on avoidant, let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, don't forget to click on like, that does help me a lot. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
For a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.